Shot, till Duddy shut the shopper up, and Mutty, poor Mutty, brought us our poor suppy. Who, how, in Acetius, and Oriosus, and Celius Volatilis, and Petrus Patricus. Our old party quite united round the slack bowl at common. Parasalamas himself, and that sprog of a patersill, the revise of him, and in fact not an ideal choose by any means, though the better man of the two is meltingly addicted to the more casual side of the arrivalist case, and, let me say it at once, as zealous over him as is possibly he. The same home and history seeks and hyphens, which we used to be reading for our pre-purgatory, shot, till Duddy shut the shopper up, and Mutty, poor Mutty, brought us our poor suppy. Who, how, in Acetius, and Oriosus, and Celius Volatilis, and Petrus Patricus. Our old party quite united round the slack bowl at common. Parasalamas himself, and that sprog of a patersill, and his sprig of thyme, and a dozen of the Murphy buds, and a score and more of the hot young capels, and Latasia in her green sleeves, and you two and me three, twinsome bids but handsome apes, like Shakespeare and eggs. But there's many a split pretext bowl and jowl, and snob screwing that cork shot. To understand this as well as you can, feeling how backward you are in your down-to-the-ground benches, I have completed the following arrangement for the coarse use of stools, and if I don't make away with you, I'm beyond Caesar out nullist. The older scissors, tyrant's regicide is too good for you, become unbearable from age. The compositor of the Path of Destiny, however, makes a untold wrong mistake by letting off this pianoforte effect as his first act, as that is where the Duke comes in. Having been sort of nine-knived and truly removed, this soldier-author Batman, for all his commentariism, is just another of those soft-seized bubbles who never quite got the Sandhurst out of his eyes, so that the champagne he draws for us is as flop as a Plancree. The twin Freer types are billed to make their reappearance as the new naked knife knick-knocks on the deserted Champ de Bouteille. A most cursory reading into the Persicuralian's history shows us how Phonomagula picked up that proper noumen out of a collection of prefixes, though to the permeating connoisseur, the Cuculian offspring of this son of a cock is as satin as there's a tub in Pobolost, Ostiac de la Fogel Marina. But that I deny the fact of Wanton to West Point, I could paint you to that butter, cheese it, if you had some wash. Mord they alive, oh me nonsense. Why, the case is as inessive and impassive as Casum hand. Their interlocutive is conprovocative, just as every hazzy hates to having a has-been in her nose. Casius maybe think himself a thought of a caviller, but Burrus has the richly rounded head that goes best with thought-thinking defensive fideism. He has the lack of wisdom under every dint in his laughter, while the other fellows are very milky indeed, my mite, laughing over the linnets and weeping off the union. He hisn't the hay or he listened to log poo-hoo, and each night Sim Mrs. Man, he winks he had the sam again. It was aptly and corrigidly said, and it is royally needless for one makes un waylay on him to say by whom, that his seeing-craft was that clarity as were the whole borough of Petersburg to be avalanche over him pitch back, he could still make out with his oxbridge the green mote in Ireland's eye. Let me tell you the full truth of Burrus when he wore a younker. Here it is, and charming too in 6 by 7. A queenly line, by the gods, a king off duty in the jaw forever. And what a cheery right outlook. Good help medius filius. If I were to speak my whole mouthful to Arinam about it, you should call me the Ormus Daliment in your midst of fame. Eat ye up, sings the summon in the psalm. Buterum et mel comedet ut sciat reprobare malum et eligere bonum. This, of course, also explains why we were taught to play in the childhood, Der Hänsli ist dein Butterbrot, mein Butterbrot, und Kirby ist dein Stinkenkot. Ja. This, in fact, just to show you, is Casius, the brother Scotch, or poor Turon, a hole or two, the high stinks of Forfelt, and any go prigging worms. Cheese, you complain. And I must say you are not wholly in the wrong. Thus we cannot escape our likes and mislikes, exiles or ambushiers, beggar and neighbour, and, this is where the dime show advertisers advance the temporal relief plea, let us be tolerant of antipathies. Next quovis burro num fit mercasius. I am not hereby giving my final endorsement to the learned ignorance of the Cusanus philosophism in which old Nicholas pegs it down that the smarter the spin of the top, the sounder the span of the button. What the worthy old auberginist ought to have meant was, the more stolidly immobile in space appears to be the bottom which is presented to use in time by the top primo mobilis, etc. And I shall be misunderstood if understood to give an unconditional sine qua to the heroicized pureabouts of the Nolanus theory, or at any rate of that substrate of apart from his theory, where the Theophil swores that on principle he was the pointing star of his odios by comparison, and that while eggs will fall cheapened all over the world, the bure will be dear on the brie. Now, while I am not out now to be taken up as unintentionally recommending the Silkeborg Tyron Dynamon machine for the more economical helixtrolysis of those ambo adipates until I can find space to look into myself a little more closely, first I shall go on with my decisions after having shown to you in good time how both products of our social stomach, the excellent Dr. Burrowman, I noticed by the way from his emended food theory, has been carefully digesting the very wholesome criticism I helped him to in my Princess edition, which is all so much for the cud, are mutually polarized the incompatibility of any delusional acting as ambivalent to the fixation of his pivotism. Positing, as above, 2 males pools, the one the picture of the other, and the ombre the scotia of the one, and looking wantingly around our undistributed middle between males, we feel we must wastefully warn to female to focus, and on this stage there presently appears the cowrie maid M, whom we shall often meet below, who introduces herself upon us at some precise hour, which we shall again agree to call absolute zero, or the babbling pump of platonism. And so, like that former son of a kish who went up and out to found his farmer's ashes, we come down home gently on our own turnabout asses to meet Margarine. We now romp through a period of pure lyricism of shame-bred music. Technologically, let me say, the appetizing entry of this subject on a full chest of viols is promptly putting the cart before d'oeuvre off, evidenced by such words in distress as, I cream for thee, sweet Margarine, and the more hopeful, oh Margarina, still in the bowl is left a lump of gold. Correspondents, by the way, will keep on asking me what is the correct garnish to serve rachines with tansy sauce. Enough. The pawn-breaking pathos of the first of these shoddy pieces reveals it as a Casius effort. Burrus's bit is often used for a toast. Craniculture can tell us very precisely indeed how and why this particular streak of yellow silver first appeared on, not in, the bowl, that is to see, the human head, bald, black, bronze, brown, brindled, betteraved, or blanche-manged, where it might be usefully compared with an earwig on a full bottom. I am offering this to Signorina Cuticura, and I intend to take it up and bring it under the notice of Herr Harleen by way of diverting his attention. Of course, the unskilled singer continues to pervert our wiser ears by subordinating the space element, that is, to sing the aria to the time packer, which ought to be killed il tempore. I should advise any unborn singer who may still be among my heeders to forget her temporal diaphragm at home, the best thing that could happen to it, and attack the roulade with a swift corpo di glottide to the lug. Though Mass, I will insist, was reclined from overdoing this, his recovery often being slow, and then, on the third dead beat, to cruise her eyes, and I open her off, and see what spice I may send her. How? Cease thee, canter tricky. I fain would be solo, arouse thee, my valour, and say for e'er my true be do. I shall have a word to say in a few yards about the acoustic and architectural management of the tone hall, but as ours is a vivarius, where one plant's breath is a lunger planner's bicent, and you may not care for argon, it will be very convenient for me, for the emolument, to pursue Burrus and Cassius for a rung or two up their isoscellating biangle. Every admirer has seen my goulash of Marge. She is so like the sister you don't know, and they both dress alike, which I titled The Very Picture of a Needless Woman, which in the present ornates our national cruet stand. This genre of portraiture of changes of mind, in order to be truly torse, should evoke the bush soul of females, so I am leaving it to the experienced victim to complete the general suggestion by the mental addition of a wallopy band, or, should the zoological zealot prefer it, a kangaroo keel. The hat boxes which composed Romba, Lady Trapezond, Marge in her excelsis, also comprise the climactogram up which B and C may fondly be imagined ascending, and are suggestive of gentlemen's spring modes, these modes carrying us back to the superimposed clay layers of Eocene and Pleistocene formation, and the gradual morphological changes in our body politic, which Professor Ebayi Aouri of Philadelphia Steel, whose blue butter bust I have just given his coup de grace to, neatly names a boîte à surprise. The boxes, if I may break the subject gently, are worth about 4 pence per box, but I am inventing a more patent process, foolproof and tri-perfect. I should like to ask that Sherlock Holmes person, who is out for removing the roofs of our criminal classics, by what deductio ad dominum he hopes de tacto to detect anything, unless he happens of himself mobile tectu to have a slayed off, after which they can be reduced to a fragment of their true crust by even the youngest of Marges, if she will take place to be seated, and smile if I please. Now there can be no question about it either, that I, having done as much, having quite got the size of that of a military young female, we will continue to call her Marge, whose types may be met with in any public garden wearing a very dressy affair known as an ethel of instep length, and with a real fur reduced to 3 and 9, and muffin cap to tone, their angel skin this fall, ostentatiously hemming apologetically over the shirtness of some sweet garment, when she is not sitting on all the free benches, avidously reading about it, but obviously on the lookout for him, or so thrilled about the best-dressed dolly cram and beautiful elbow competition, or at the movies swallowing sobs and blowing mixed skits over child Chaplin's latest, or on the verge of the gutter with some bobbed hair, brief-frocked baby-mouthed toddler, the Smythe Smiles, now keep 2 domestics, and aspire to 3 male ones, a shover, a butt-legger, and a secretary, held hostage at arm's length, teaching his infant majesty how to make waters worse. I am closely watching Master Pules, as I have reasons to suspect from my post that her little man is a secondary school teacher under the boards of education, a voted disciple of Infantulus, who is being utilized thus publicly by the seducente infanta to conceal her own more masculine personality by flaunting frivolous finery over men's inside clothes, for the femininity of that totamulia will always lack the masculine of a verum virum. My solution for the proper parturience of matres and the education of Mercurius might must stand over from the moment till I tackle this tickler hussy for occupying my attentions. Margarina, she's very fond of Boris, but a lick in the lack, she's very fond of cheese. The important influence exercised on everything by this East Asian import has not been till now fully flavoured, though we can comfortably taste it in this case. I shall come back for a little more say farther on. A clear patrician in her own right, she at once complicates the position while Burrus and Cassius are contending for her mystery by implicating herself with an elusive Antonius, a wop who would appear to have a personal interest in refined cheese of all shades, at the same time as he wags an Antomine art of being rude like the boar. This Antonius Burrus Cassius group triad may be said to equate the qualis equivalent with the older so-called talis on talis one, just as quantly as in the hyperchemical economantarchy the tantum ergons illuminate the quantum urge, so that eggs is to whey as whey is to zeed, like your golf child's a boob caddy. And this is why any simple Philadelphus of a fool you like to dress, an atomist-hued Lotonian, X-legged patricite, may be awfully green to one side of him and fruitfully blue on the other, which will not screen him, however, from appealing to my grope-arching eyes through the strongholds of my acropole as a boosted, blasted, bleating, blatant, bloating, blasphemous idiot who cannot tail a bomb from a pineapple when he steals one, and will not sing his salmon with the Kong in aggregational pom-poms with the canting crew. No topsman to your tarpia. This thing, Mr. Abbey, is nefand. And taking off outstuffs and alka-like matters, I hope we can kill time to reach the salt, because there's some force-glass nutric acids bittering in the salt pewter for you to plump your pottage in. The thundering legion has stormed Olympus at its end. 12 tabular times till now have I edicted it. Merus genius to Carius Cassius. Moriture te salutat. My famous theme is race is run, so let democracy take the high most. Abraham Trippier. Those old diligences are quite out of date. Read next answer. I'll beat you so long. Big-tempered, why not take direct action? See previous reply. My unchanging word is sacred. The word is my wife to expanse and expound, to vend and to venerate, and may the curlews crown our nuptials, till breath us depart. Amen. Beware would you change with my years. Be as young as your grandmother, the ring man in the wrong shop, but the right words by the rote order. Ubi lingua non cucassit, ibi fat, adversus hostens and sac. She that will not feel my full moon, let her feel to be as the hoyden and the impudent. That one that hath no Moses in his soul, nor is not awed by conquests of word's law, who never with himself was fed, and leaves his soil to lave his head, when his hopes and his high laws from whisking his woe. If he came to my preach, a proud purse-broken ranger, when the heavens were welling the spite of their spout, to beg for a bite in our bark, Noah's danger, would myself and Mac Jaffet, 4 in hand, foot him out? Aye, were he my own breast brother, my doubled with love, and my single biased hate, were we bred by the same fire, and signed with the same salt, had we tapped from the same master and robbed the same till, were we tucked in the one bed and bit by the one tree, homo gallant and handicap noise, bum and dingo jack by churl, though it broke my heart to pray it, still, I'd fear, I'd hate to say. 12. Sacer esto? Answer. Semus sumus. Shem is as short for Seamus as Jem is jokey for Jacob. A few toughnecks are still get atable, who pretend that aboriginally he was of respectable stemming. He was an outflex between the lines of Ragnar Blaubarb and Horrell Hairwire, and an in-law to Captain, the Honourable and Reverend Mr. Birdwood de Troblog, was among his most distant connections. But every honest-to-goodness man in the land of the space of today knows that his back life will not stand being written about in black and white. Putting truth and untruth together, a shot may be made at what this hybrid actually was like to look at. Shem's bodily get-up, it seems, included an adze of a skull, an 8 of a lark's eye, the whole of a nose, 1 numb arm up a sleeve, 42 hairs off his uncrown, 18 to his mock lip, a trio of barbels from his mega-gag chin, Sowman's son, the wrong shoulder higher than the right, all ears, an artificial tongue with a natural curl, not a foot to stand on, a handful of thumbs, a blind stomach, a deaf heart, a loose liver, 2/5 of 2 buttocks, 1 Gleatstein avoirdupois for him, a man root of all evil, a salmon kel's thin skin, eel's blood in his cold toes, a bladder twist-ended, so much so that young Master Shemmy, on his very first debauch at the very dawn of proto-history, seeing himself such and such, when playing with thistle words in their garden nursery, brief or trophio at Fig Street, 111 Shovelin, Old